Hey everyone, it is Abby. Here we are again, road tripping to the next park. Today we are at a local park, just a small, teeny, tiny little park. It's just like pretty much consists of this grassy area behind me, and over here it's got some picnic tables in the shade. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's pretty quiet. Like, I never see anybody here. So I thought this would be kind of a nice spot to make a video or two. So, anyway, today we have another chapter with Pam and Bruce. And we will get into it. This time it is Sapphic night at the FLR Club. If you're not quite sure what Sapphic night is, as we read along, you will get it. Well, guys, it was a quiet park until the little air conditioner for the restrooms kicked on. Hopefully you don't hear that and it's not too loud and interfering with our show. So, anyway, Sapphic night at the FLR Club. It says, in front of the FLR Club where there were 4 large motorcycles. There was still enough room for my Uber to let me out. Sapphic night is always held at the end of Pride Week. This was my first full-blown FLR night. I had talked to Mistress Rachel about the do's and don'ts at this party. Any lady that can have any young man there, but their chastity device must stay on, and you could wear anything except military uniforms as your costume. We have too much respect for the women that serve in our armed forces, but anything else was okay. Many of the ladies had on business suits, tuxedos with tails, were very popular. A number of years ago, pantsuits were often worn, Mistress Rachel said. Mistress Rachel was dressed in a 1920s gangster white fedora hat with black band, black shoes with white wingtips. She finishes it off with a fake Tommy gun. At least I hope it was fake. Later, after the meal, she would smoke her trademark cigar. Much attention to detail was given. For example, I saw both Yale and Harvard neckties on the 2 women dressed as lawyers. Police, firefighters, and cowboys were also popular. I found the lady dressed as an archbishop very interesting. You have to admire the hat. The archbishop's young man was dressed as a priest in a cassock with a Saturno hat. It was like a Mardi Gras with strap-ons. Many ladies had thin pencil mustaches painted on, and 2 dressed as doctors had full fake beards. Was the lady dressed as a judge really a judge? At least 4 women were dressed as Sapphics on bikes theme. I guess it was their motorcycles parked out front. The biker chick had their men in leather chaps, and the chrome chastity devices really stood out. Mistress Rachel said they rode them in the Pride Parade early in the week. I recognized Mouse Melissa. She was dressed as the pirate Captain Hook, complete with the eye patch and the hand hook. Rather fitting, her Roberta was dressed as Tinkerbell the fairy. I found out the young males could be in costume, but only from the waist up, and it had to match the theme of his lady. I thought the most interesting was the lady dressed as Snow White and her dwarf. Mistress Rachel says we are now to call them little people. The rules are simple. No fisting, no whips, strap-ons only. The strap-ons stay under your clothes until dinner is done. After the dishes and cutlery are taken away, the ashtrays come out and bottles of lube and a small candy dish full of rubbers are placed on each table. Then the cigars come out for those who want to smoke. Of course, I was sitting in the smoking section. I lit up a VS 120. I don't always light up a 120 after a meal, but I am starting to enjoy it. The dinner was nice, and as I said, having naked men in chastity made the dinner go fast. As I am not a full member yet, I sat with Mistress Rachel at her table. Paul and another young man served us. I came dressed as a nurse. I know that's not very original, but Nurse Victoria still looks good, and I fit right in. I had worn my mid-sized strap-on. I had experimented when in college with other young ladies, so I had a small collection of them. Does Bruce know this, Pam? The chairs did not have any arms, but they had a heavy plastic seat cover. I would understand why later. I asked Rachel if I could have some time with Paul. Of course she said, and snapped her fingers at Paul. The lack of arms on the chair made it very easy for Paul to straddle my legs and sit facing me. I could not reach the ashtray on the table, so when I had to ash, I just said ash, and Paul would reach behind him for my ashtray. I have told you how much I wanted to feel his chest and stomach muscles. After a few minutes of this, I had to use the ladies' room. I got Paul off my lap, stood up, and crushed out my ciggy. Rachel asked me if everything was okay. I said all the wine and glasses of water had caused me to need the ladies' room. Rachel opened her purse and took out Paul's leather leash. Here, put this on him and enjoy, she said. I said, as are you sure? Of course, it's been all he has talked about since after you came to dinner at my house. I put his leash on and walked to the ladies' room, Paul walking just behind me. The walk to the ladies' room was a great opportunity to look at the different chastity devices. There was silicone, stainless steel, and a new 3D printed model. The birdcage model that Paul had on was very popular, but some were very small and restrictive, almost as if they were being used for punishment. Could not help but think what model my Bruce would look best in. There was a line at the ladies' room, isn't there always, I thought. When one of the two special stalls opened up, Paul knew what to do. I removed his leash so it would not get wet. He lies down, face up, in the middle of the stall, his head just above the drain. I thank goodness my panties were outside my garter belt. I grabbed the handles on the stall. Tiled walls were positioned just right to get a proper squat. I was surprisingly not that nervous, and I was able to release my full bladder. I thanked Paul, and he said, "No, thank you." While Paul toweled off, I washed my hands and left a $20 tip in a silver tray in the bathroom. It goes to a good cause. It was worth it. Paul would have my scent on his leather collar all night. I did not replace my panties, but pulled up my short skirt and exposed my strap-on. I reattached his leash on the way back from the washroom. Many of the ladies had exposed their strap-ons, every color and size you could imagine. Many were in the rainbow colors celebrating Pride Week. A lady dressed as an airline pilot was extolling the virtues of the Mr. Hanky brand. It was huge, as thick as a beer can, and had a most alien shape to it. Not that I would know about aliens. She was smoking a very interesting cigarette, but it was as long as my Virginia Slim 120, but thicker, with a very long cork filter in a very attractive gold package. Mistress Rachel told me that it was a Saratoga cigarette, but they are no longer made. Too bad, I thought. I thanked Mistress Rachel for the use of Paul and returned both him and his leash to her. The level of debauchery in the room was unbelievable. The energy in the room almost exceeded what I experienced years ago at a male strip club across town. That night, there were 2 bachelorette parties and 4 divorce finalization groups at the strip club. I was there because a girlfriend was finalizing her divorce from a man that cheated on her. What I know about chastity and FLR sure has changed my views on married life. Many women were using the small rooms off the side of the main hall. The 2 ladies dressed as doctors with their young men went into the room named after my Aunt Victoria. I wondered if they needed a nurse to assist. Many of the ladies just had their escorts bent over the tables and were abusing them right then and there. A number had the men bent over and just grasped their ankles. A small group of ladies would gather around and give nasty words of encouragement like, "Take it like a man, we're common." As I walked past the lady dressed as a cowboy, I could not but think of the song "Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy." I probably would have thought that too, Pam, I'm not gonna lie. I hope that they thoroughly cleaned and sterilized the tables afterwards. A few minutes later, young Sam came over to my table and introduced himself. I had just about lit up a Virginia Slim 120. Sam said that Blanche had noticed I was alone and sent me over. He asked very politely if I wanted any company. How thoughtful, and I waved at Blanche for this gift of the young man. He asked me what I would like to be addressed as. I thought for a minute and said Goddess Pamela would do. I asked Sam questions about his chastity. I noticed your chastity device is a PA 5000. Do you like it? Sam explained that his device left his testicles free so Blanche could, if she wanted, use her riding crop on them. Sam's testicles were very underdeveloped. It looks like you have been pierced. Yes, Sam said. I was done many years before I met Blanche. The plastic PA 5000 did not feel very heavy as I handled him. I have gotten used to it, he said. Now it feels very wrong to have it off. Does Blanche ever take it off? I asked. I knew his schedule. I just wanted to ask. Yes, he said. And if I have met her expectations for the week, I normally get out tomorrow, Sunday, Sam said. Being gay, this was not Sam's first trip to the rodeo, so to speak. Sam took out a condom from the package and applied it to my strap-on with his mouth. I've never seen that before. He applied a generous amount of lube. I guess he knows how much lube should be used. I had never had a man in this way below. Sam is short, and as such his toes could not touch the floor as he sat across my lap. I think my Bruce will be ready soon for this type of pegging. As I had Sam on my lap, I asked Paul to bring me a cigar. He did, and of course cut it and lit me. The Virginia Slim 120 would not give me the satisfaction that the cigar would. Paul had kept my wine glass full during my time with Sam. Sam easily accommodated what I thought was a large that I was wearing tonight. Sam stayed on me for almost 20 minutes. During that time, I asked Sam a lot of questions about his device. Did it hurt only when he was erect or tied to, he said. How did he keep it clean? His answers were very similar to what you, Abby, have reported on your channel. A few cups of water after each toilet and a few shorts of Febreze kept the smell down. I was pleased that I was able to give Sam relief even though he was in his device, and I am not really his type. Both Sam and I enjoyed his nipple rings afterwards. He dismounted me and thanked me, cleaned me up, and left to go back to his Blanche. I had my full share of wine and fun. I never walked past a group of seniors doing yoga, chair yoga, and not think back to tonight. I thank Mistress Rachel for a wonderful evening. I asked Mistress Rachel, when will they pick the winners of the costumes? I would like to stay for that. She gave me a funny look, then smiled and said, "What a great idea, Pam. In all the years we have been doing this, we never thought of a prize for the best costume. What a wonderful idea. I will bring that up at the next meeting." I left thinking I had contributed in a small way. I had to put out my cigar before I got in the Uber to go home, but I kept the stub. When I got home, I removed my makeup, got Nurse Victoria's uniform ready for the dry cleaners. There were some stains, as I am sure you can imagine. I showered and went to bed. I left my dirty used strap-on and my cigar stub where Bruce would find it. I thought of all I had done and seen. Before I fell into a deep sleep, I went looking for my friend, the little rabbit on my night table, Pam. Wow, Pam. What a story. What a night. Yeah. I would be curious to know how Bruce feels about that. You'll definitely have to keep us informed. That's very interesting tale. Very interesting club you guys have there. Everybody, that is, I guess, all I have to say. This is probably one of the most risque ones I've read from Pam and Bruce. Pam seems to be enjoying it just as much as Bruce. Or Bruce just as much as Pam? I don't know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see. Leave me your comments in the comment section below. Share and hit that little bell so that you get notified every time a new video posts. See you guys soon. Bye.